What is up, everyone? Cannan here, and what about that Nintendo Direct Mini? Now, I will admit, I was not expecting a lot. It was a mini, it was mostly third-party stuff, so we weren't going to see Zelda or anything like that, but I was still intrigued. Now, of course, I couldn't do a reaction to it because I was at work, and they didn't do it as a live stream. They just posted it as a video. But even though I was at work, it thankfully went up before we opened, so I had an entire hour, so I was able to watch it. And there were a few surprises. A legacy collection of Mega Man Battle Network. Yes. Nier coming to the Switch. And of course, now Persona 3, 4, and 5 are pretty much now on every system possible. But I'll tell you now, this game right here is what interested me the most. I was not expecting this. Say hello to Harvestella. Pretty much Final Fantasy meets Harvest Moon / Story of Seasons, Stardew Valley, Rune Factory. This I was not expecting. And like I remember when I was like, okay, what is this? It's made by Square, or published by Square, at least. And looking at the art here, it's got definite Final Fantasy vibes. The character artwork, all that definitely screams Final Fantasy. And we're going to go over a little bit what this game is going to feature. Info we have so far. This game doesn't come out until November 4th. It's coming out for the Switch and the PC. More than likely going to get it on the Switch because I need more Switch games. Now, if you are wondering what me and Jess are doing for RTX, we'll have a video up on Saturday about everything Ruby related. Monday will also be the first episode of Fire Emblem 3 Hopes. So that is my gift to you all on 4th of July, if you celebrate 4th of July. But yeah, this I was blown away. So this looks like it is going to be more like your standard Square-Enix RPG with farming sim things in it. So first off, what I'm going to show is the main protagonist of the game. We will go into a little bit of info about the protagonist a little bit later, but first, here is the female version of the protagonist, and then you have the male version of the protagonist. They slightly look the same, but the female has slightly shorter shorts, it looks like. Of course, you can definitely tell this is female, while the other one is definitely male, so good to see there is at least a gender option in the game, because the trailer I thought looked like a female, and then it turns out it's the male character, and then I saw some people mentioning that you only play as a male character, but no, you do get to choose between male and female. So going from that, this is on Square Enix's page, and it says, what is Harvestella? Harvestella is a life simulation RPG where you can enjoy daily life, socializing, and adventuring. For example, you could spend a relaxing day farming, fishing, or raising livestock. You can head to town to chat up the locals, or step bravely into a dungeon to take on some monsters. The choice is yours. So it's very Rune Factory-like, where you farm, you cook, you craft, you go fishing, you do stuff for the townspeople, or you can go fight monsters in dungeons. Whatever activities you engage in, and there are a lot of things you can do, time constantly passes, which is a theme in all these games. You're free to spend it as you please, but every 30 days, the seasons change, and that is very common in these games. Seasons only last a month in these games. And of course, we're going to have spring, summer, fall / autumn, whatever you prefer to call it, and winter. But there is one more season to worry about in this game. And hopefully I'm saying it right. It is called Quietus. It occurs as the seasons shift. During this time, the crops wither and the deadly dust prevents people from walking around outside. You'll have to plan your farming and activities around the endless march of time and the approach of Quietus. So we have something that is not only a threat to like our farming and the activities we can do, but it sounds like this is going to probably be the main driving point of the story of the game. What causes Quietus? What causes this time of the season where everything kind of becomes like an apocalyptic scenario? Is it some kind of monster? Is it some kind of deity? Is it a witch or a sorcerer causing it? Who knows? Like, probably the main villain, whatever is the main villain in this, is probably the reason for it. But let's get a little bit into the story. Harvestella takes place on a planet where 4 giant crystals, already sounds very Final Fantasy already, known as the Seas Light, govern the seasons. All life receives their blessings. One day, the Seas Light start behaving abnormally. Quietus begins to visit in the interim between seasons and quickly establishes itself as the season of death. Very, very dramatic. That is something you can always count on Square to do. The Seas Light glow with a strange light, emitting a dust formed of light that threatens all it touches. Kind of sounds like the plot of Shadowbringers, if you ask me. Crops die and people are trapped inside. During one particular Quietus, your character, a traveler, collapses in an isolated village. Sounds very Rune Factory-like. You meet a girl called Arya, who claims to have come from the future and is researching the mysteries of this new, unwelcome season. Thus, you and she take the first step on a journey that will reveal the very truth of the world. So, it's going to be very... like, in your downtime, yeah, it's going to be a farming sim, but there's going to be a larger narrative that will probably lead to having to save the world. Which, that's always fun. Cliche, maybe, but hey, it's enjoyable. So, the protagonist, which we've already looked at. Occupation, traveler. This is who you control. You can choose your gender/appearance at the start of the game. You were saved by the village doctor after collapsing during Quietus and have lived near the village ever since. We're going to be that strange traveler that lives outside the village. So now we are going to now they've only showed off a few characters. They showed some other NPCs in the trailer, but it seems like these characters right here are more than likely going to be the close friends, maybe party members, or they will at least be able to fight alongside you. And the first one is Arya. And I'm already telling you, she already has main heroine qualities, it seems like. Her occupation, though, is a scientist. This girl who has traveled to the past due to some kind of accident. She ends up living in your home while she searches for a way to return to her own time and delves into the mysteries of Quietus. So yeah, she's a scientist, which is something new. Usually the main girl, if you want to call them that, is usually just, especially in games like this, she's like just a normal village girl or a princess in some way. But no, they're going the scientist route, which is very, very interesting. Now, I hope I say this next name right, but if I don't, oh well. The game's just been announced. I'll correct myself when we hear more. We have Isel, I think his name is. I am not sure. His occupation is an Argus Brigade. This young man lives in a town near the Spring Seas Light. He grew up in the town orphanage and now is part of the Argus Brigade. Thanks to his straightforward and honest personality, the townspeople place their trust in him. So this is going to be like the goody two shoes character. No, this is going to be the noble character who always wants to do good, wants to do right by the people, which is not a bad thing. It is kind of commonplace in games like this. Like I said, they're very much going the standard Square RPG route. Because I mean, the character designs and even the logo, like the title, the way it's made, it screams like Octopath Traveler and stuff like that. But and like Bravery Default and stuff like that. So yeah. Next, the only other character they've really focused on is Shrika. Hope I'm saying that correctly. Her occupation is a missionary. Shrika's a missionary of the Sea Slight Order. As the name implies, they worship the Sea Slight. She fights with blades of light that fly through the air and travels from place to place, resolving various incidents. So she's the type of character who belongs to an order that worships these crystals, and I already like her weapon, these blades of light. That sounds really awesome, and she's the one that's going around trying to help everybody. So let's get more into the daily life stuff. And of course, we are going to start with farming. You can grow vegetables, grains, and fruit in your fields. Your specific options will largely depend on the season. That's commonplace. Your first step is to plant crops, tend to them, and soon they'll be ready to harvest. Once you've harvested your crops, you can use the shipping box to send them off and earn money. Also, you could keep a few to use as ingredients in cooking, which once again is that's par for the course in games like this. Speaking of cooking, daily life also revolves around cooking and crafting. At home, you can craft and cook to help you on your adventures. Once again, something else that is more of a Rune Factory thing than Harvest Moon and stuff like that. But the food you cook can give you lots of benefits, including restoring HP. Some recipes even grant you status boosts. Plus, they look delicious. You can also craft items that will help you when exploring the dangerous dungeons. Then, of course, you have socializing. It's fun to live your best life on your own, but everyone benefits from a few friends. You can earn yourself useful rewards by clearing quests given to you by townsfolk, including money and items. As you complete character stories, you'll become closer to residents of the town. Now, no word if this game is going to have marriage in it. I'm guessing probably not, because let's face it, that's not something that Square usually puts in their games. But if this game does well and it becomes a series, maybe it will be one day. And who knows, maybe they just haven't announced it yet. But the concept of doing character stories sounds interesting to me. It's like character quests that, the more you do, the more you like, you'll complete one and then you got to wait until you can do the next one. Kind of like Genshin Impact kind of has character stories and they're very popular. So it could be something like that. Then of course you can go on an adventure in the overworld. In the overworld, you'll find numerous towns and dungeons. So we're going to have more than one town. That's one thing that I kind of don't like about the other games like Stardew Valley, like Story of Seasons, and even Rune Factory. You're pretty much in that one town. It would be great if you could travel, in Stardew Valley you could go to the desert and stuff like that, but in this one you will be able to travel to other towns. You won't be stuck in just the one town, and there's also villages across the overworld, which is great. Very RPG-like. I love it. Which all depict the 4 seasons. You'll meet fascinating new characters in town and fearsome enemies in the dungeons. You can explore more than the land. Get your hands on a submarine and you can explore some parts of the ocean. What secrets lie within the waters? Cthulhu? Atlantis? I mean, I wouldn't be disappointed if we found like an ancient sea monster or an underwater city. That'd be pretty cool. Plus, is the submarine yellow? Because if it is, I will try and put together something to the tune of Yellow Submarine, because why not? Now, something that is very much a Square thing, well, more like a Final Fantasy thing, and that is this game will have combat, of course, and jobs. So part of Harvestella's world are dangerous, full of monsters who want nothing more than to give you an early retirement. You could have just said early grave, because that's really what would happen. Oh, a dangerous monster attacked me, I retired. No, I mean, yeah, you could get hurt and retire, but more than likely, you are going to be eaten. So you and your party can overcome battles by using joint attacks and switching instantly between a wide variety of different jobs. Hit an enemy's weakness, and you'll do massive damage. So yes, it's gonna have a job system, which is a common thing in the Final Fantasy series. If you play any Final Fantasy, even if it is a Final Fantasy title that does not have a job system where you can switch between different ones, Final Fantasy characters are usually always based off a Final Fantasy job. Like Tifa in Final Fantasy VII. She's pretty much a monk class in a lot of ways because she fights with her hands and feet. She's a martial artist. Zidane from Final Fantasy IX, he was a thief. That was his class. Then of course you got games like Final Fantasy V and 3 where you can switch between mini jobs, and of course Final Fantasy 14 where you can do the same thing. You can pretty much play every single job in Final Fantasy 14 if you want to. You'll have access to a wide variety of jobs. These determine what actions are available to you in battle. Each job has a unique weapon and characteristic skills. For example, the fighter is a physical attacker who can unleash swift sword techniques. The job lets you handle multiple enemies at once by using both single target and ranged attack skills. The Shadow Walker job lets you deal mortal damage with twin blades. What's more, you can enhance your own attacks and deal impressive amounts of damage with hard-hitting skills. Prefer to keep your distance? The Mage job specializes at long-range magical attacks. Because mages can utilize multiple elements, they're able to deal huge amounts of damage by skillfully targeting enemy weaknesses. Those are just 3 of the jobs you'll use, so there's going to be more than those 3. There are a lot more, but they say they don't want to ruin the surprise, so they say they'll let you discover some of them yourself when the game comes out, but I'm sure they'll announce something before then. But yes, the game comes out on Nintendo Switch and Steam November 4th, 2012. So we already had Pokemon coming out in November. Now we've got this. So far, I might be more excited over this than Pokemon, really, because I love these kind of games. Yes, I know I kind of hyped Rune Factory 5 up a bit, and I've only done 3 episodes. I'll get to it. But this one, I could definitely see myself playing all the way through on the channel, just because it's going to be more of an RPG experience. It's a little bit more easier to play than games kind of like Rune Factory, where yes, there's a story, but it's very open-ended, and you can put the story off so much. I don't know how much of the story you'll be able to put off on this, because Square is very much more of a narrative company, and also we don't know if Square is actually also developing this. If they are not, they've not announced the developer yet of the game, as far as I know. They may have since then, I just missed it. But yes, very much looking forward to this game. It's definitely going to be a day one buy for me. And like I said, no word if it's got marriage. I highly doubt it will, because it just doesn't seem like the kind of thing Square would put in a game, in this game. But who knows? They may release more details later. But I'm sure people will already be shipping the main protagonist with Arya. I mean, it literally says she lives with you. So yeah, I can already see where that's going to go. But yeah, very excited for this. This was like, yes, other things they announced in that direct were cool. I'm happy for Persona. I'm a Persona fan myself, so very happy about that. Very happy for the Mega Man fandom, which I'm also in. I love Mega Man. The Nier fandom, I'm sure they're excited for the game coming to the Switch and things like that. But this was the one that stood out to me. I'm very, very interested in this. Can't wait to hear more about it. Once we get more information, I'll probably do a follow-up video. But until then, yeah, that's Harvestella. That's what we know so far, and that's the main characters that they've shown off so far. Don't know if we'll get more party members. We might. I'd say we will. They have showcased some other NPCs who look like they may be kind of important. But so yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm hyped for this. This is one thing I always want to do, is talk about games that, even if they're not huge AAA titles, even if they're niche titles, if it interests me, I want to talk about it. So yes, this is going up on a Friday. Saturday will be mine and Jess's RTX video. I'm sure there's going to be a ton of Ruby news going into that. And Monday, like I said, the first episode of Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes. Hope you look forward to it. And as always, guys, if you enjoy our content, please hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, click that like button, leave us a comment. Please help us get to 1,000 subscribers very, very soon. As always, guys, this is Cannan. Me and Jess love you all very, very much. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. And I will see you in the next one. See ya.